but still being a dreamer kind of like restricts me from it's kind of ironic, it restricts me from dreaming.
I want the children that are growing up in the United States to be dreamers also. They're not dreaming right now.
When someone's coming here, more times than not, they're coming because they're trying to get a better situation.
I get a phone call, and my sister told me that they got him. And I said, what do you mean they got him?
Day one, we end a border policy which allows federal agents to snatch babies from the arms of their mothers.
What they want is to turn the United States of America into the United Socialist States of America.
When I heard about America, for me it was like paradise. It was a place where there was no pain, there was no problem, there was no issues.
The beautiful coloring of our country that is happening at a faster pace is creating fear.
USA! USA! USA!
This man who struck these two women, he was deported 8 times.
These incredible women who lost their daughters and their sons.
That's unfair to say someone's a racist because they take a position.
Life is so hard in Haiti or in the country that they had before, they'll take the risk of getting caught. Like, it's almost like all or nothing.
All the data that I've seen indicates that crime is higher in a sanctuary city than in a non-sanctuary city.
There's rules, there's regulations, there's laws.
Like at the end of the day, you know, I'm just like you.
I am you.
I am you.
In the end, we remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends.
And welcome to another episode of The Conversation. We've been interviewing guests throughout the whole day, getting to know different people. So really exciting stuff. I'm here with the candidate for Councilor at Large, Jamal Brathwaite. Jamal, first and foremost, thank you for coming on The Conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Listen, you know, you are new to the political game, but you know you've definitely made your voice heard. Throughout the city and throughout social media. Why don't you talk about who is Jamal for people who don't know you?
Yeah.
You know, you kind of have an interesting past coming to Brockton. Mm-hmm. Who is Jamal, and what got you into politics and wanting to run for office?
Thank you for asking. Yes, so my name is Jamal Brathwaite, and I'm a resident here in Brockton. A bit about me is that I'm president of the Northeast Brockton Neighborhood Association. Our goal is to increase the quality of life for residents by promoting civic engagement. Prior to even starting the Neighborhood Association, I've worked in financial services for over 17 years, where I've worked in the role as an accountant, a compliance officer, as well as an internal auditor for banks, insurance companies, and investment management firms. Now I want to work for residents here in Brockton. A little bit about my educational background is that I've got a bachelor's degree in economics from University of Massachusetts here in Boston, close by. I've got 3 master's degrees, a master's in accounting, a master's in international economic law from the University of London, as well as a master's in risk management from the University of East London.
So what brought you back to Brockton? I know you did some time in London.
Right, yeah. So my motivation is really, if anyone ever asks you, why did Jamal Brathwaite come to Brockton? He came for the food and culture. He came for the rice and beans. That's why I came.
All right. Now, listen, let's get right down to the issues here. Mm-hmm. What are you seeing right now that sparked you to run for office? Is there something that's concerning you, something that you want to really build upon? What are you seeing in Brockton right now? There's so much potential in this city. We all love this city that you want to, put your hat in there and run for office.
Absolutely. So Brockton could be a great, amazing, beautiful city on a hill. It's 36 minutes away from an international airport. If there's no traffic, that's how quickly we can get there. We're 35 minutes from a major financial center in this entire hemisphere. And so Brockton needs to benefit from that more. I don't think it's really taken full advantage of it. And what I observe on a daily basis is that here in Brockton, our roads are like the Flintstones. They need to be improved. And one thing about it, whenever you visit another community, the first impression you have is of the roads. In Brockton, we need to improve our first impression. And it's not just the roads, it's the infrastructure of our water pipes, as well as the infrastructure of our schools. Our Brockton High School should be a secondary school that is an envy for all of South Shore, if not the entire state of Massachusetts. And in order to do that, we need to build a school that's going to be more like an information technology university academic center that really is going to bridge young people to the careers of today and tomorrow.
What would be priority number one if you get elected as council? What are some priorities, maybe 1, 2, and 3, that you would really kind of go through? If you're a council at large.
Yeah. So the first priority is to really gather all my colleagues together and to agree an agenda. Right now, my agenda focus is on the roads and the infrastructure of the roads and the water main pipes. But in addition, we need to improve the quality of customer service in City Hall. And it doesn't matter whether you're a business owner, a building owner, you're a resident who's looking to be more civically engaged. You should be able to go to City Hall, and it should be a resource for everyone in the community. Right now, I think in City Hall, our customer service is very poor. And so as a result, we have people who have capital, whether it's people who are residents in Brockton or people who are external to our community, who, if they want to learn how they can invest money in Brockton right now, I don't think they have sufficient resources in place in order to promote the city to be an attractive place for investment.
So Jamal, what would you do differently that's being done right now that would really change that that perception?
Yes, so to improve the perception of Brockton, as well as to increase the operational efficiency of city government, I'd recommend that we implement what's called an ombudsman service. An ombudsman department would be a department that would serve as a liaison for complaints. So you as an employee, you might have a complaint about working in City Hall, you could go to this ombudsman department. If you're a resident and you're trying to open a business and you feel you haven't gotten the engagement from City Hall you feel you need, you can go to the ombudsman department. The significance of the ombudsman department is to increase the operational efficiency of current city government departments to service the people.
So let's talk about bringing business to Brockton.
Yes.
There's been a perception Brockton hasn't been business friendly.
Yes.
What would you do to kind of cut that red tape?
Yeah.
And what would you do to, again, as city councilor, I said it before, cannot bring a business by themselves, but is a team effort. But what would be your part to make Brockton more business friendly and to bring more revenue streams into the city?
Yeah. So I think by advocating that the city council have a grand plan for improving our roads, our water systems, improving the operational efficiency of city government through the ombudsman service, the collection of these activities will increase Brockton as a more attractive place for investment. I've heard recommendations from some candidates who say, you know what, I'm gonna hold a candidate by the hand, and I'm going to walk them through each department. For the record, that is not sustainable. And the success of city government should not be a function of having one individual who has a great personality. It should be a function of having the effective processes in place so that it doesn't matter who we have in office, our city government can provide quality customer service to all people who are engaging in with the city, whether it be an investor who wants to open up a shop here in Brockton, but once again, so we need to improve our processes. Currently in the city of Brockton, there are a lot of lawsuits the city is subjected to that could have been avoided if we had a complaints procedure in place, but we don't have one in place. Therefore, for people when they are disillusioned with their experience with City Hall, their only recourse is a lawsuit. And I'm trying to reduce the risk of lawsuits to the city. I'm trying to reduce the risk of operational failures in human systems and processes when it comes to City Hall. But we can do that by implementing, in my understanding actually, about this ombudsman department, I spoke with a resident who's lived here for 25 years, and she told me we used to have an ombudsman here in the city of Brockton, but when the person left the role, it was never replaced. And so that's another issue here in Brockton that needs to be priority one. We probably have about 10 roles available in City Hall right now. The head chief auditor, the city clerk's role, the head of HR. We have about 10 roles that are vacant. And what's concerning is not that they're vacant. What's concerning is that they're vacant and they have not been advertised to the public to source new applicants. So therefore, our city government isn't even running in all cylinders right now. So the first priority is that we need to get our city government running in all cylinders, and the way to do that is, once again, we got to get the city councils together, agree the agenda, and I'm recommending that if we have an ombudsman role and it's been vacant, we need to fill it.
Talk about your professional experience and how that's going to translate to being an effective counselor at large?
Yeah. So, well, my professional experience. So currently, I conduct internal audits to minimize the risk of financial statement reporting. In the city of Brockton, the person who would do that is our internal auditor. We currently don't have an internal auditor. Therefore, we don't have anyone who's conducting reviews over financial statement reporting risk when it comes to reporting of the accounts in the city of Brockton. If we did, then you should be able to go to the city of Brockton and ask, where's our issues log? Where are the issues that have been identified by the auditor on areas we can improve or areas that we are falling short on? If that list doesn't exist, then we never had an audit engagement conduct a review over our financial statements. My experience includes that ability to do that. And it's from that experience of observing the city of Brockton with a professional hat on that I can see there's a lot of areas of improvement in the city of Brockton.
How would you, I should say handle, but in terms of how would you improve community police relations?
Right.
And huge protests last year, but it's continued. How do you turn protests into progress?
Yes.
And what are your thoughts about civilian review boards, body cameras, and how would you improve that aspect? Again, not by yourself. It's a collective effort.
Yes, it is
including the mayor. But what are some things that the council could do? Is it more walking beats? Is it more police officers on bikes? What could they do to improve that community relations?
Right. So the city council has the power and authority, and if anyone says otherwise, please correct me if I'm wrong, but they have the power to create laws, and they are called ordinance laws. They're local city laws. They could sit down and talk about what type of law measure. So in this case, a civilian review board. I'm an advocate for a civilian review board. I haven't heard any reasons why we shouldn't have a civilian review board, but we could create an ordinance that would mandate the existence of a civilian review board, and it would specify the criterion of any member of the civilian review board. The purpose of the civilian review board can be to increase accountability, to provide community monitoring of policing for the purpose of increasing transparency, accountability, identifying service needs. I'm sure the police officers themselves have a lot of great ideas on how to improve policing and community relations. But me personally, as a resident, I've never heard those ideas. And I think the best way to get those ideas out is that the mayor could host a forum, a town hall forum, similar to the town hall that I hosted yesterday, citywide town hall, where he invites the chief of police to talk about how are police performance goals set? Do we have an excessive use of force policy? What procedures and policies are in place that officers need to adhere to? Do we have body cams? If not, why not? What are recommendations from our existing force, our existing resources? We have over 200 police officers here in the city of Brockton. I want to say thank you for all the great police officers who do the service they do, because we need you. We need you in the community, and know this. But we also need your input and dialogue, and I just haven't heard it, but I think it's the mayor who would have the responsibility to facilitate that conversation between the chief of police and the larger community, so we have a greater understanding to close any knowledge gaps.
What would you do as a city councilor to make the youth feel like they're heard and involved? Because right now they feel like they're falling on deaf ears, a lot of them. What would you do as a councilor to make them feel connected to government?
Good question. So currently, as the president of the Northeast Brockton Neighborhood Association, I currently host weekly meetings with anyone from the public where we talk about, the purpose is to review the city council meeting agendas and minutes to understand what was the outcome of these city council meetings, to understand the governance in Brockton, and to identify what should be on these agendas that are priorities of the community. So that's one way, but more than that, I think what we also need to do is that currently the city of Brockton's police department has a grant writing program, and they're really good at it. And a lot of the grant writing, if you watch the city council meetings and the finance meeting, you'll see the approval of these grants and the acceptance of them, and a lot of them are targeted towards youth programs. I think it would be good if we could have a program partnered up between the police department, the school department, to identify young people who are interested in programs, and specifically to promote a curriculum of teaching Brockton city government, as one topic, and another topic on finance to bridge young people to the careers in finance that exist in the state of Massachusetts. Because currently that type of program does not exist in Brockton, and it can close knowledge gaps. We can leverage existing resources in the city of Brockton so that a program like that is achievable.
What do you say to people who say, you haven't been in Brockton long enough? You know, you don't understand the city. You haven't been here, and you're an outsider.
Yes.
What do you say to those people?
There's two things I'll say to that. Number one is that no one group of people has a monopoly on good ideas. When it comes to improving the city of Brockton, we need all the good ideas we can get, all the brains we can get. That's one. Number two is that I appreciate people may have lived here for their entire life, but did you know that in the city of Brockton for 2020, we had the worst performing city retirement pension plan than any other municipality in the state of Massachusetts? That's out of 106 municipalities. Now, what does that mean? Here's what that means. 3 weeks ago, the city of Brockton approved the lending of $360 million, which might be the largest lending request in the history of Brockton. Now, what that means is that your tax bill is going to increase at the end of this year. If it doesn't increase this year, it's going to increase next year. In fact, the life of Brockton the cost of it's going to increase for the next 30 years in order to finance this debt. Now, this $360 million isn't going to improve your schools. It's not going to improve your roads. It's not going to improve your water system. It's literally to pay what's called an unfunded pension liability. Well, how did we get it in the first place? We got it from underperformance of the investment managers who've been given the money to manage this pension fund. If we were to turn that money over to another alternative, basically right now, if you look at the entire past 36 years in the city of Brockton, we've been in the bottom 10% of city pension fund performances. And so therefore that costs you money now. It costs me money. So no one else in Brockton seems to be talking about this. I'm talking about it. So if you lived here for your whole life and you want to know why is it that my taxes are going up, but it's not going to pay for increase in quality of roads or infrastructure in schools, it's going because of that unfunded pension liability. You need somebody on the city council with a background in finance. You need someone in the city council who cares. You need someone who has experience reaching out to people, all right? And that's who I am. That's what I'm all about. If you want to learn more about me, you can go to voteforjamal.com. You can call me, 774-428-1525. I'd love to hear from you. Or you can attend one of my weekly meetings we call the Brockton Oversight Board. It's a civilian-led initiative to disseminate information that is an outcome of Brockton City Council meetings to the public.
Well, listen, Jamal, I wish you the best of luck, and hopefully you'd like to come back for a future episode of the conversation and kind of keep us updated on how things going. But wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.